We are here. We are back, and we are addressing alignment. The question is properly yoked or unequally yoked? Has dating and relationship questions alignment? What alignment in relationship actually means? You felt the chemistry. You had a ripple, maybe even some goosebumps, thoughts that this is the one, even feeling or thinking we're connected. Some even feeling and expressing love. And what is this thing that we're getting married in less than a year of meeting or knowing someone? And some even talking marriage in a month or two. I won't say asinine, but I will say infatuation and getting the feels isn't dealing with unequally yoked, equally yoked, and definitely not alignment. Real Men, Real Talk is back with your host Hatch, presented by Hatch Catch, and we're ready to dig into episode 5, what alignment actually means in relationships. We touched on the weight of rejection. We went into why men stay in the wrong relationships. We even came into laying out a few keys to the concept of kingdom connection with a few key tips and pointers. We got into understanding a few action steps to take from moment to moment in each new philosophy and concept as we take this kingdom connection, kingdom dating journey and travel this road to a new understanding and new enlightenment in our dating lives and dealing with genuine relationships that matter and last. In episode 4, we got a little further and deeper into kingdom dating is different. Understanding the concept of kingdom dating is different than the dating that most of us have been used to, and understanding why most of our relationships have been different than what we have been looking for and what we have been expecting. Our truth point, 2 Corinthians 6:14 clearly says, don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. This, of course, is a biblical principle, a concept of being aligned or misaligned or properly aligned or unequally yoked in your relationship beliefs as it relates to biblical principles, the Holy Bible, Christianity, or religious beliefs. But I want to challenge you that being unequally yoked is more than just about religious beliefs or disbeliefs, more than just about biblical or Christian alignment, but that unequally yoked deals with every area of your relationship in regards to your ministry, unequally yoked in your purpose, your mission, your dreams, your goals, your values, your views, and your beliefs. Alignment is much more than just about how we feel about one another. More than we like the same thing, or more than what we relate to or how we relate so much to one another. We see so many things the same way, or how we feel so strong about so many of the same things. And true alignment is about centralized focus to address the whole man spiritually, emotionally, and morally for the foundation and direction of the moral compass of the person, laying the groundwork for a foundation again of shared ministry, mission, vision, views, goals, purpose, passion, concept, character. As we go into what alignment actually means in relationships, many of us have never even heard the term mentioned or the concept or even thought about the word alignment in our relationship or anywhere in our dating process. I speak about this idea, this concept, mostly that I usually share with men, that we have all started dating wrong from the beginning because the only thing we was looking at or concerned about was lips, hips, and slips. And some say for the modern day, I have to change slips to like dips. We only focused on lips, hips, and dips, primarily saying that we only focused on appearance and physicality, what we saw and how we felt about what we saw, only focusing on feelings and emotions that generally and usually always have steered us wrong because we never touched on and dealt with this word alignment and never got to even processing what alignment actually means in relationships. So, in addressing and dealing with alignment, we must first understand that we have to have some set standards, some set boundaries that seeks to bring our passion and purpose in a direction of order, keeping us from direction and chaos. In order us to know what is not aligning or not aligned with purpose in our life, we have to know what our set order, set standards are so we know what order looks like in our life. So we have to have an order, a structure to our life that lines up with our purpose, our passion, like we said, our ministry, our mission. What do alignment mean and what alignment actually means in relationship? In regards to set standards and boundaries, in regards to having order and not chaos in our life, it means that I know exactly where I'm going in my life based on my ministry and my purpose. And then what does this mean in relationship? It means that now what I'm adding to my life in the way of physical or personal connections that we call relationships, I am now dating with purpose to see what brings order to my life and not chaos to my life. I am seeking now through the dating process to channel and to gauge my relationships to see if they line up with my standards, my boundaries that is set to build, to grow, and uplift my purpose, coming in alignment, coming in agreement with my ministry and my mission. How do we now begin to use this word alignment, to focus on alignment, to begin to realize alignment matters more than I ever realized? Because now I'm beginning to understand what it actually means in regards to lining up with some of the tenets that we have touched on already before, beginning to line up with understanding kingdom connection, understanding that kingdom dating is different, understanding why kingdom dating is different, understanding why I need to leave immediately when I'm in the wrong relationships, even if it's just to reassess my standards are set properly and I'm not compromising my boundaries before I revisit a committed relationship I'm in. So now I can begin to determine what's healthy and what's not healthy because now I know what alignment is supposed to look like and I can begin to gauge what is pushing to align in agreement with my ministry and my purpose, and not add confusion and chaos, and not leading and guiding me away from purpose, mission, even my character. In order for us to first begin to lay down, adding alignment, addressing alignment, and beginning to focus on alignment, we need to begin to see things through a different lens we would call the kingdom lens. We have been looking at things through humanity's lens, everybody else's lens, and we can, in some regards, say a worldly lens. What do this kingdom lens help us to see, and help us to see more clearly, help us to focus on, and help us to see better? Our first action step, our first practical application key for addressing alignment is mirror reflection. And I will say mirror reflection is kingdom focus. The second practical application step is recalibrate. And I will say recalibrate is kingdom adjust. And third, last but not least, is retread. And retread, we will say, is kingdom attraction. Okay, let's dig into how this will get us on track to address alignment, and what alignment should look like and should mean in our relationships, and how to now begin to track towards alignment, proper alignment, and hopefully beginning to evaluate every relationship that we in to deal with proper alignment. One, mirror reflection, kingdom focus. This is going back to set standards, laying down boundaries that will not be crossed, that should not be crossed in my dating life and in my relationship. And it should be based on what my priorities are. And my priorities should be moving, directing me, and guiding me toward my purpose and my mission. And two, for kingdom focus, which is the mirror reflection. What will I accept, and what have I accepted? These are the notes that I should list for my homework to address, as me looking in the mirror at what I will accept, looking in the mirror at what I have accepted, so I can focus on what I have allowed myself to be aligned with in the past, what I am aligned with now, and then knowing what I should be aligned with when I prioritize my purpose and my mission. Practical application one is mirror reflection. Get your kingdom focus on to look deep in the mirror at your personal dating and relationships, and reflect on what you see in that mirror that you have set as your standards and your boundaries, and reflect on if you see that those standards and those boundaries have been crossed and or compromised. And if you are aligned with your own priorities, and if your standards and your boundaries are set as a foundation for your priorities to push you and move you toward your purpose and your mission. Two, for the mirror reflection, is to look in the mirror deep at what you have accepted and what you will accept. And going forward, if you will continue to accept what you have accepted, or if you will now only accept what is aligned with your priorities to push you towards your mission and your purpose. Are you going to only accept now what will not compromise your standard and cross your boundaries? Now, two, let's go into recalibrate. Kingdom adjust. When we talk about making a kingdom adjust, it's meaning that I have some things that are not in proper alignment. I have some things that maybe have been aligned, but kind of got out of order a little bit. And when you're dealing with certain professional tools that measures or tracks time, these tools have to be what they call recalibrated to make sure that they're calculating measurements in time properly. Because over time, something can set that timing or that balance out of order. When dealing with practical application, number two, recalibrate. I ask myself first, where do I stand? Where do I stand? Because in order to recalibrate, I need to know if my compass is set at true north or if my compass is leading me slightly offset. If I'm using my scale, is my scale set to zero before I attempt weights to balance and measure, or if my scale off center? Where do I stand? So in my kingdom adjust, I need to make sure that I'm set at true north, that my scale is set at zero before I weigh out my dating life and my relationships. So I'm rooted and grounded, and I know that where I stand is on the standards and boundaries that I set. I know that I stand on my principles. I know that I stand on my purpose and my ministry. I know that I stand on my priorities. Check your priorities and see if you need a kingdom of just. See if you need to recalibrate. If your standards have not been met, if your boundaries have been crossed, if you have not been aligned with your priorities, I need to recalibrate. And two, who am I? Do I know myself? How can I set boundaries and standards that align with my purpose and my mission? How can I have priorities to prioritize what's important in my life if I don't even know who I am, who I'm supposed to be? Recalibrate your thought process and be sure that you know who you are and not who someone or something or the world around you was attempting to get you try to become. And last is the retread, kingdom traction. There used to be this thing about tires because they supposedly are not able to be recycled, that when the tread on the tires wore out, they would reprocess the tire to create new treads. Those tires would be able to be reused again and have traction, kingdom traction. Sometimes in our life, because we have been grinding, we have been doing things so long abrasively, we have wore out the tread in the purposeful areas of our life. We need to consider a retread. The first concept, practical application of alignment to retread your life in order to gain good traction. Traction allows you to get a grip. We use the aspect of tires. Tires need traction in order to grip the ground to allow the vehicle to move safely and effectively to generate movement and motion in an effective, safe manner where the car will have the ability to move, but also have the ability to maintain a certain level of stability. If you think about losing traction in the most purposeful areas of your life, if you lose traction, that means that you cannot properly grip your purpose, you can't properly grip your mission, your true values safely without losing a good grip, a good contact with the purpose you're supposed to be connected to. The first practical application for retread, turn this bus around. Take a pause, sometimes a mental pause, like we spoke about the mirror reflection in concept one. Meditate. See, the word says to meditate in Joshua 1 and 8 on the word of God daily and not to let this holy Bible leave your thought process. It says that if you do this, this would be a key to long life and good success. I would take this advice if I was you. I'm not you, but if I was you, but I'm not you. But if I was you, I would take this advice and consider this practical application of alignment, retread, thinking about Joshua 1 and 8, and taking time to meditate daily on the word of God and think about if I need to turn this bus around. Am I losing traction in my ministry? Am I losing traction in my purpose? Am I losing traction in my character? Am I losing traction in my integrity because of how I'm dating, who I'm dating, the relationship that I'm seeking, or the relationship that I'm in? Turn this bus around. If you lost traction, you losing traction, retread, get back to kingdom traction. And the second concept for retread, lay new tracks. Yes, you heard lay new tracks. Sometimes we get off track. Sometimes we get derailed. Sometimes we may even feel like we lost our way when we got off track. But we have the ability to lay new tracks. And if we're off track, the key goes back to our priority, goes back to knowing ourselves, knowing our ministry, our mission, our purpose, because that will allow us when we do our mirror reflection to keep focused on the destination. So no matter where our travels lead us or take us, no matter where we derail in the process because we have lost our kingdom traction, we can always retread, get new traction, new grip on our dating tires, on our relationship tires. And we can turn this bus around and get back on the new tracks that we lay because we know the destination. And no matter what, it should always be leading to our purpose, our ministry, our mission. So, mirror reflection, set standards and boundaries that align with your priorities, kingdom focus. Recalibrate. Know where you stand as it relates to your purpose and your mission, and know that your scale is set to zero before you do your weights and balances for your dating and your relationship. And know who you are, that you will not lose yourself in your dating process and in your relationships because you have recalibrated to make sure that your scale is zero balance. When you weighing out those that enter your life, the scale will always point to your purpose and your mission. And last but not least, the retread, regaining kingdom traction. So we know that if we need to, we turn this bus around. And if we have to retread our dating tires, our relationship tires, and if our relationship and the dating process that we have been in have caused us to derail, we can lay new tracks because we still have our eyes. And what we said earlier, we still have our kingdom lens focused on our purpose, our ministry, our mission. If you are truly finding concepts that have not been highlighted in the way that we're given to you in Real Men, Real Talk, if you are finding kingdom connection to be genuine value in learning how to generate new, purposeful, meaningful connections that you see will last the test of time, if you are truly beginning to understand and see that kingdom dating is different and you feel like it can become more clear to you why kingdom dating is different, be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Be sure to share this community with others and get the word out that you have found something that is bringing value and insight and new light and new inspiration to your relationships, not just your dating life, not just your physical relationship, but all of your relationships. And if you haven't already, be sure to grab the Kingdom Dating Guide that I created. And if you're serious about Kingdom alignment, apply for coaching. Grab the link in the show notes. And without a doubt, add your comments. Comment. Share what your alignment have looked like in your life before. Share what you want alignment to look like in your life. And share what alignment will look like from here on out. And by all means, make sure you understand what alignment actually means in your relationships. That kingdom lens always brings kingdom focus, kingdom adjustments, and kingdom traction to lead you to your kingdom purpose. As always, for now, peace and love. Until next time, hatch out.